everyone for tuning in to Tea Time with Celeste. And today we have a great show lined up for you today. As we all know, Justice or Else Million Man March is approaching us tomorrow. And today we have special guests here to speak about the event. So I have Mont Brown here with us, musician, activist, entrepreneur, and also Rashaad Lambert, entrepreneur, activist, and that's heavily involved in our community, How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, excited for tomorrow.
Speaking about tomorrow, how did you guys get involved with, Philly United and stuff like that?
Well, Philly United, I'm the president for Philly United. So I had a conversation with brother Eric from the nation, and he wanted me to be the youth ambassador for the Million Man March. I guess he's seen all the community work I was doing. So yeah, that's how it really started. That's how Philly United really started. And it's just about guys like myself and Spit coming together to do positive things for Philly.
Right. And you, Lambert?
So I got involved maybe a few months ago. Kenny Gamble, from Philly International Records, but he actually does a lot of community work himself. And he sent me an email like a few months ago. I thought somebody was trying to prank me or something. So, cause it was kind of random for somebody Kenny Gamble to email a guy like me, or so I thought at that particular time. So I had a meeting with him, and he was telling me pretty much the same thing, like Mont was saying, that he wanted me to get involved as far as mobilizing the youth for this 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, because Philadelphia has a history of bringing out the most people to these events, with the Million Man March, the Million Family March, Million Women's March, etc.
So you guys had the pleasure of meeting Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, in person. Yeah. How was that experience?
It was dope. We went up there, we walked to his hotel room, like 40 guards out front. But no, it was cool. I think that the biggest thing I got from him is be yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself. And I like to live my life like that. I think a lot of people, no pun intended, but people wear suits and they just do all this stuff for, I guess, they just watching what their parents do and things like that. So after people seeing a picture of Louis Farrakhan, like, ew, why you didn't wear a suit? For what? I don't wear a suit every day. So why should I jump in another lane just because of me and somebody like Farrakhan?
Right.
So when I did meet him, I had my attire on. It was like confirmation, just like, just keep doing what you're doing. Be you. You're a young king.
Right. I mean, as yourself, everybody's different, everybody's lane is different, and I feel like that you touch, an audience that he probably may not be able to, or vice versa. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we always need that positive, pillar in the hood, in the community, to make a difference. Whereas, somebody in a suit or somewhere else that doesn't live in Philly, they can't reach them.
That's why I'm the Southwest Philadelphia ambassador with Senator. I've been named that through Senator Anthony Williams. It's the same exact thing. At the end of the day, if you're an artist, you're a singer, you in fashion, our voices is bigger than theirs.
Right.
And that's what Farrakhan told me. He's like, your voice is bigger than mine. At the end of the day, they look towards us. Right? Like art, music, and fashion.
Listen.
If we start making music, there won't be no iPhones or iPads or no, what are you listening to? Well, how are they going to make their money if we just stop making music completely and we start wearing name brand clothes?
Now, I'm going to get to you, Rashaad. I want to touch on that, the music.
Right.
Our culture is so grounded in that. How do you, as an artist, how do you, shift that and try to make that positive for the youth and things like that to make them be better involved and also spit that positivity?
I mean, totally honest, it's like, look, y'all not gonna hear no kumbaya stuff. That's just not what's gonna happen. From back in the day, Kool Herc and all them guys broken glass everywhere. If it ain't about the money, it's still that same exact message. There's nothing wrong with telling our story from our environment. This is where we from. All we doing is telling a story. So I'm not here to say, to do these positive songs. That I wouldn't be real with myself.
Right.
I'm going to tell the story, the life I live, and the others around me. You know, but what I do say is deeper than music, right? Music took me to meet Farrakhan. If I never did music, I wouldn't have been able to meet Farrakhan or accomplish all the things that I'm doing. So I think people should loosen up on that music type thing. Like, it's all negative. It's not. Jay-Z wouldn't be Jay-Z if it wasn't for music. Beyonce, right?
Right. Any thoughts? Any questions?
No, he's absolutely right. I mean, that's like, especially the music portion of it is so important, because that's the way that we convey our messages. It's the way that we communicate with our peers. Like, and you know, as a people, we're a rhythmic people, so we communicate in sound and in rhythm, or even in just general conversation, just like how I'm talking to you now, how I speak with my hands. It's just something I do. It's not something that I'm like consciously thinking about. It's just how I communicate, because this is how we're designed. Different people communicate in different ways by my mannerisms and my body movement. So those things, but trying to relate that to a commerce place, like it's just like Mont was saying, that we have the dominant culture right now. Hip hop culture is the dominant world culture. So all other these other communities and these other cultures, they may not, you know, respect us totally right now, and they may not respect our buying power yet, but they know that we have it, and that's why they imitate us and they try to get all of our dollars. Why when speaking of like the iPads, and when you see the iPads and iPods and these new iPhones, how they're all tailored towards towards hip hop culture. Look at who the new with Apple Music, who their new ambassador is Drake. Yeah. Drake is hip hop, kind of. So, you know.
Sort of, kind of. Okay.
Yeah. Kind of. Sort of.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like people taking, you know, that culture and that rhythmic, you know, rhythm from us. So I'm driving down on the highway and I see a billboard, right, that says all attorneys matter. And immediately I'm like, well, Black Lives Matter movement, why are you guys taking, you know, their statement and making it into your own profit? I don't understand that. So how do you guys feel about that when people are doing that and, you know, perpetuating that in that sense and making it as it's like nothing? Like it doesn't have substance when this movement is to rebuild the Black, you know, liberation movement.
I mean, as people, as Blacks, we don't hold on to nothing. We so quick to sell our stuff for whatever. We might think it's $1 million is a whole bunch of money, but it's not. But it's like, you know, our generation, we haven't had the proper guidance from the people, our fathers and stuff like that. It's just all about the generation. We don't know no better, because they didn't know no better, and they didn't know no better. I think it's just going to go on until we just smarten up and just say, oh, we're not doing this no more. It's going to continue to happen. Like I seen, it said something about John, right?
Yeah.
We started that.
Like, Philly, Visit Philly has their new billboards out there that says there's no John like home.
Where did that start at?
Wow.
Started in an urban community.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure nobody even
was
copyrighted that word.
Thing. That was all of Philly, when they know that there's a microcosm in Philly that came from. It's not just, you don't hear, well, now you do. Now you hear people in Center City and all these other places saying John, when that started in West Philly, Southwest, North Philly. So, like, you know, those actual neighborhoods is where that slang, where that, you know, where that comes from. And you even hear it going back to the music, and you hear it in the music. Like, you hear those slang terms starting to translate over into some other genres of music. I just saw Saturday Night Live, and they were doing a skit with Miley Cyrus, and Miley Cyrus was she was rapping. I was like she's a millennial, so she's from our generation. So the way that they try to promote it is that if you're of a certain age range that all of this stuff that's on the table is free range. It's for everybody. So if you're between the age of 21 and 30, then it don't matter if it's black culture, if it's white culture, if it's Spanish culture, it's all yours. You can take from whatever you want. It's a big melting pot, and you got free range over it. And just like Mont said, because we allow that to happen, just like that billboard you saw, all attorneys matter. You see all lives matter.
Yeah.
You see all lions matter on Twitter. Like all of these things are because we allow it. We can't protest 50 million things all at once. And protesting is sometimes it's counterproductive, I guess is what I'll call it. But we need to, it's similar to what Mont said, I'll take it a step further, is that once, it's not that we don't know. I think that we are aware of what they're doing. It's just that for a lack of resources and a lack of focus on one particular thing at a time, like we can't tackle all of these issues. The root cause of people using the Black Lives Matter and turning it into something that is profitable is because cash is king, commerce is king, and we live in capitalist America. So people are always going to take things and try to make a profit from it. But if we allow it, like if we allow it to continue, it's never going to stop. They're going to start selling Eric Gardner ringtones and Walter Scott phone cases. Like these things are going to happen, and we let it. Those two names I mentioned, people know Trayvon Martin, and like they turn these slain people into like celebrities, and they're profiting from their names, whether we can see it or not. Why do you think CNN, with MSNBC, none of these they don't care about these young men? The reason why they're showing their story so much is because they can make a profit off of it. Because if they know that there's going to be a riot in Baltimore and we're going to be able to show this every day for a week, then those advertising numbers, they made millions of dollars during those Baltimore riots, because that's all that was on TV all day, and we were glued to it. Like, oh, that's so sad. Oh, I wish I could do something, but I'm just gonna watch it on TV. Right. And now you look at the billboards. It's all lawyers matter, all attorneys matter,
or all lives matter.
Because it's something that they can profit from.
Do you believe that all lives matter?
Yeah, man. I'm not into all lives matter. God put us all here, all lives matter, no matter black, white, no matter your race. And God put us here. We are brothers and sisters. That's my view. Right.
But as far as, the media portrays it, or, economically and socially and things like that.
I'm with him. First of all, man, I seen people downtown selling the Pope shirts. Yeah. Come on, man. And people, we didn't even know about this guy. Like, we being honest, they selling Pope shirts, profiting off of this man, selling Pope shirts. Like, that's what we do. It's for me, like that stuff like that is sad. But us as a people, man, it's just like, y'all won't go support the local black business, but you go print up 100 shirts at a Pope and sell them. But that's what we do.
Just to make a quick buck.
Because they feel like that's going to be their fast come up. I always go back to there was this episode of Martin when he was going to a concert, and y'all probably know the one I'm about to say is anyway. And he went with Bruh Man, and they got the T-shirts, and they went to the concert, and he was supposed to be printing up Whitney Houston T-shirts, and he printed up like Whitney Hutton T-shirts. It said Whitney Hutton, and he's like, man, I can't sell these, man. And it's still like, that was in '94. Like, if you think about that, that's 1994. We still got the same hustle from 1994 in 2015. Like, nobody's graduated. Like, so we don't have a print shop. Right. Like, we're not printing the T-shirts. We're not doing the graphic design. Like, we still selling the T-shirts on the street. We still selling waters. We don't have a water company. You see what I'm saying? We still selling snacks. We don't have stock in Tasty Cake. We don't have our own. The cycle. No, like, it's like, this is that was. We talking about 20-year anniversaries. Right. 20-year anniversary of Martin show. It's still going on, the same situation. And that was a joke, and we could laugh about it now, but that's sad. Yeah. Like, just like you said, that's sad.
And actually, that was like one of my questions. How do you feel like our race has evolved since then, since 1995, since that Million Man March back in that era, and now economically, socially, educational wise as well.
So we have evolved. We have more access to information. Whether we use it for good or for bad is
Mostly bad, but
is different. So I was talking to my students about inventions versus innovation. So one of the questions was, I was saying, give me some examples of like an invention, and then tell me what the innovation to that invention was. So I gave some examples. I said, dictionary. They said Google. I said, the wheel, and they said, run flat tires. And I said, all right, YouTube, something new. YouTube is that's an invention. What's the other innovation of YouTube? And they said World Star Hip Hop, and that really threw me off because I'm like,
wow.
YouTube, but they were right, because YouTube was a place that was like free information. You could go get, you could learn things. They had a lot. I mean, there's a lot of nonsense on YouTube too, but when you go to World Star, you know what you're getting. Like you're not going to World Star to try to learn anything. Like you're not like that's
not about Farrakhan either.
Yeah, it's not about. I mean, whatever the case may be, So I guess the difference is that we're more segmented as a people. There's the intellectual community. There's the people who are on the borderline. There's the deep hood, there's the hood, and then there's the people who don't want to choose a side. Like I think that's the word. So we're like really segmented in that way that and I guess this ties into why we are so separate
as a culture.
And not just culturally, but economically.
Okay.
Like Mont was saying, and like I was saying, is like about supporting black businesses. Is we don't support each other because we don't communicate. Like you would, Mont and I are not that different.
Right.
Like as far as people, but people looking at us wouldn't know how much we get along and how similar we are. We went to the same high school.
Right.
Wow.
You would never know that.
What high school was it?
Bartram, shout out to Bartram.
Oh, okay.
Watching everybody with the Bartram, shout out to Bartram.
Bartram High.
But yeah, so like those sort of things are just like what he said about the suit.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s, we're talking like our first Million Man March, Tupac was still alive, Biggie was still alive. We're talking about like people who were cultural leaders. They weren't the most like responsible cultural leaders, but they had a lot of influence. And what we've gained and lost in that amount of time is we've lost a lot of leaders without having a replacement. And instead of like stepping up and leading ourselves, it's like the culture is still waiting for that next Martin Luther King, that next Malcolm X, and that's why you have.
Do you think that's like the cause of like, or the problem, the root of the problem? Like we don't have leaders, and that's why we take taken advantage of, like with police brutality and things like that.
You think about it like this, though.
Knowing our rights, basically.
Yeah. Well, think about it like this. We can name 20 different black leaders. Name 3 white leaders for me. Name 3 Spanish leaders for me. 3 Cuban, 3 Colombian, 3 Asian. Like they don't have leaders. Like they lead themselves. Their culture, their principles, their like they lead by example, not by. They don't have some person on a podium telling them what to do and what they should do, because their values are like taught. They have those dinner conversations, as we spoke about. They have they have like they have like certain core values that are passed down. We were robbed of our culture, so it's not our fault. And it's our fault at the same time. We were robbed of our culture and given another culture and forced into it. But at the same time, we have the freedom of information. Like we have Google, we have YouTube, we have libraries, we have books. Like we all got these phones. And while they call smartphones, all we do is dumb stuff with them. So we could easily get this information. But we don't reach out and try to recapture who we really are as a people.
Yeah, and that was well said, Rashaad.
Definitely.
Yeah. Good question. Right now, in this segmented part of the show, we're going to, answer some questions. And anybody want to respond to anything that we were talking about?
Question is, what advice would you give young black males to stop selling drugs, doing just nonsense, like shootings and unnecessary things that we don't have to do to make money or to just survive? So.
Oh man, for me, I just think at the end of the day, they can strip everything from us, the money, the cars, the clothes, but at the end of the day, you still got a dream, and the dream is real, right? Because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that one reason, me like, yo, I'm gonna live my dream out. And I'm being honest, like, my mom been incarcerated for 20 years. I didn't have a father. My grandma was battling breast cancer trying to raise me. Then I had a son at 13. So for me, other people around me like, yeah, you ain't gonna be nothing. You lost. You're gonna be like your father. But me, I knew like, nah, I'm gonna live my dream out. At the end of the day, we can't hold other people responsibility. Hold them like, it's my life. Just because my mom messed up, my dad messed up, that don't got nothing to do with my life. Like, I'm gonna live my dream out. At the end of the day, you could go to school. Ain't nothing stopping you from going to school. You don't gotta hang with the people that sell drugs. You don't have to sell drugs. They actually got jobs out here. Like, you definitely could go get a job. Like, you definitely can. You definitely could go to school. I mean, but like I said, then that go back to a lot of us grow up with no father figures, right? And it's hard for a female to raise a father, man. It's rough. You just put God first and keep that dream. That's it. Like I said, they could take everything else, but they can't take our mind, can't take that dream from us.
Do you want to say anything? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
What I would say to that is I mean, and I say this very often, and one of the main things that I would say is that you have to take yourself out of that defeated mentality. Like, if you feel like you're already beaten before you start, then you're never going to be able to get to your finish line, which may be your dream or whatever you want to do. And also, to piggyback on what Mont was saying about the whole drugs thing, like, you could literally make more money at a job than you could selling drugs. Like, nobody makes any money selling drugs anymore. Right. I know that there was that people watch a lot of movies and there's all these like glam. They don't that doesn't happen anymore. That died like 40 years ago. Like nobody's getting rich selling drugs. They sell some drugs and they go to jail, and that's it. And then you lose all your money, and then you have to spend more money because you got to pay a lawyer. If you get a public defender, then you're gonna be in jail forever. So there's no point in doing that. One of the best examples I could give is there's a guy named Iceberg Slim, and he wrote a book called Pimp. So Iceberg Slim's book, if you read it just on the surface, it's not, it's a bunch of like stories about when he was a pimp. But if you really delve into what he's really trying to tell you, it's like the capitalist manifesto. Like, he really gives you a blueprint for business on how to turn a negative into a positive, on how to take the things that you've learned from people who are around you, or negative things you've absorbed, and transform all those things into something positive. Because one of the worst things that you could do is have a failure or have some sort of a negative experience and not learn something from it. Because people know, I mean, and I hope everybody who is watching or listening knows that if you ever fail at something, or if you have a negative experience, if you learn from it, then you really didn't fail. That makes it a success. That lesson that you take from it makes it a success. So if you're in the streets, if you've been in the streets, and we all are from a similar neighborhood, so we know that we're the exception, not the rule. Like, we're not like this doesn't happen every day, but it wasn't something that somebody made us do, is what we wanted to do. So pick something that you're good at and that you want to do, and follow that, not doing what you see on BET and all that other stuff.
Next question.
Being community activists and entrepreneurs that I see y'all are, like myself, why doesn't Philly people stick together. I mean, we have a great history and legacy of entertainers, athletes, and political and religious leaders, but we just don't stick together. I mean, our artists and entertainers that they do some positive things here, then they blow up from our communities, and they don't get back, and they go and let New York get the credit, or an athlete will let an agent from LA get the money, and we don't get back. I think that's one reason that a lot of programs aren't reaching this maximum potential to help the youth behind us, because the guys that made it out, a lot of them don't get back. What's your take on that?
So one of the things that I want to stop, and we can start this here today. A lot of what you're saying is what I've heard, and I've even said some of that stuff before, maybe 5 or 10 years ago. But with our generation, with these current movements, and with the people, with what I'm doing, and with what Mont is doing, is we're changing that. Right. Like that may have been a cultural thing, something that was kind of like ingrained in our culture, is that we, by saying these things, by saying crabs in a barrel, which I never want to hear that again. Philly doesn't support each other and all these other things. Then we're like perpetuating it, and we're making it worse, because the more that we say it, just like you're saying it to me, and I say it to somebody else, and somebody else says it, we're like spreading that and taking that negativity and making it so we don't support each other. Whereas right now, with somebody like Mont, and with me, and with Seleste, like doing this television show, we are changing the culture. She is supporting 2 people who are from Philadelphia right now. Right. You're supporting us by you asking that question. Like, we're changing that culture with every step that we take. So we need your support. We need people who are in the studio audience, people who are watching on television. Like, we need your support to change that, instead of focusing on what has happened and what was.
Right.
Okay, good evening to all of you. This anniversary of the Million Person March is quite beautiful. It accomplished a lot. What are your takes on possible in the foreseeable future having this march going to, as the gentleman has said in all the questions, going to the troubled streets of Philadelphia? Because the people that will be at this march, I doubt very seriously, will be the people who are selling drugs, who are shooting weapons, who are stealing and robbing. So what are your takes on that? Is it in the foreseeable future?
Great question.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like, I asked Kenny Gamble this. I said, hey, why you think it's not another Malcolm X or another Martin Luther King? And he was like, oh, maybe because we was waiting on you. So I don't know if it's like, I'm going to always go back to the older generations, because they let us down. They let us down so crazy, then act like they didn't. And then try to school us. Yeah. Like, you can't tell me nothing because you never did it. So how can you tell me anything? Right? But I think moving forward, they needed guys like me and you and others to make this happen. Because if we don't do it, ain't nobody gonna do it. Nah, this is a young man game, you know. And we got to get the word out there. Even like this year, I don't feel like the word was put out there enough for Philadelphia.
Right.
They dropped the ball. I mean, for me personally, the ball was dropped. It wasn't no promotion. The Pope came in.
Right. And
they shut the city down. People couldn't go to work. They didn't do this for Barack Obama. They didn't do this for Farrakhan. You know, so you know what you want us to do. And if you guys ain't complaining about it, then I guess it's cool.
Next question.
Okay, so my name is Antonio McKenzie. The question I have is, because as seeing that you guys are entrepreneur activists, the question I have is, what discipline did it take for you guys to achieve your goal?
A lot of discipline. Mainly, it was a clarity of focus was, I guess, the thing that helps me achieve my goals. I don't sleep a lot. I focus on work a lot. I have 2 kids, so my life is literally family and work. my leisure time is my family time, and my work time is all the time. Like I'm always working. I'm working right now, even though this is fun, but I'm working right now. So this is like I think that the first step is clarity of focus, because you have to figure out what you want to do and be able to focus on one thing at a time. They always say that a jack of all trades is that's often they're like the master of none. But you can be a jack of all trades as long as you master each trade one at a time. With my marketing company, my nonprofit organization, my water company, with each of these things, my detailing business, like each one of these things, I didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do all of this stuff all at once. I had to like take one to fund the other that funds the other, like it's reinvestment, like those sort of things. So I guess that's my discipline, is just being clear on what my focus is.
Mine's is pretty simple. My situation, as simple as this. They say the world is like 4 billion years old, I guess, whatever it is. Just say it's 4 billion. My theory is, if it's 4 billion, nowadays where we from, people don't even live to see maybe 25 or 30. So just say you live till 90, right? So you got 4 billion versus 90. How do that add up? Like, what did you do with your time when you was here? So if your time, you want to stay in a house and you want to lay up with your girl, or you want to play 2K, or you want to smoke and get high, if that's what you want to do with your life, bruh, I salute you. But me, what I want to do for mine is totally different. I'm trying to leave a legacy for my family, for my son and my daughter, for my family. So for me, it's that, because we all gonna aspire at someday. But for me, I want to be legendary. That's just for me.
Is this the last question? Next question. Okay.
Hello, my name is Kyrie Mitchell. First of all, I'd like to thank all what y'all say. It was very positive. I like to see young black men doing good things. I met Sybil about 2 days ago out here in the hallway, and I told her I was going to come out to support her show. 20 years ago, I went to the Million Man March, and I got inspired. And while I was in here, a friend of mine called me and asked me, did I want to go to Washington tonight? But I said, no, I want to come here and support the show. Y'all generation have so much that we didn't have 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we didn't have PhillyCAM. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Twitter. We didn't have Instagram. There's so much that, you guys have a voice now, and I just want to keep all your guys, keep doing what y'all doing, because it can inspire the next generation to do something positive and help another black man that's doing, pretty bad. So that was my intake. Y'all keep doing your thing, and congratulations on everything.
Appreciate
Thank you.
I think definitely with our generation, we all that negativity, crab in a barrel, we definitely changed that mentality. Like, we doing it now. Like, just me and him accomplished so much. And I said, you know what? This my boy. We went to school together. How you feel about being my manager? Why not? Why not? I think, make all the sense in the world. He eat, I eat, my family eat, his family eat. It just make all the sense in the world to me.
Exactly, and like a talent is not regional. It's not like you don't go to a certain city and be like, oh, I'm surrounded by talent. Like you don't know. You don't go to L.A., New York, or D.C. and just feel like, oh, the talent is only here. Like the businesses are only here. When you look at that, that's the way that things are like promoted. So those cities can make money. It's all about commerce. That's what I'm saying. Like commerce is king. So just speaking about what he just said, if he was as a musician, you think, oh, if I want to make it as an artist, I got to go get a manager from LA. I got to go to New York. I got to go to these places. When talent is not regional, like it's wherever talent is. It's wherever people work the hardest. Is where the talent is. One of the things that I wanted to add, speaking on what the last brother said, is that from Philadelphia, for the last Million Man March in '95, they had, I think now I might be saying this number wrong. I think Kenny said they had 3 buses leaving from Philly last time.
That's it?
Yeah, I think it was only three. Like like the actual charter buses that people did their own thing, or caught the train down or drove down and all that. We
Right.
got like 15 buses going to DC tomorrow, 20 buses going to DC tomorrow, even from Philadelphia, just based off of the little word of mouth and little effort that we did. And just like Mont said, that the last generation, I don't even necessarily say if I want to say that they let us down. I just want to say that their words were bigger than their actions. And to a certain extent, yeah, they let us down.
Yeah.
And that's why we got to step up, and we have to pick up where they didn't. Like with the march, there wasn't a lot of talk in Philly about the march, so we had to pick up the slack and start reaching out to our people who we know and get them involved, get the word out. It's not we're not getting paid for this.
Right.
This is not something that we going out there and we're already contracted us. This is what we're doing because we know it's necessary.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you guys for coming out and spreading the word and sharing your information and your knowledge to all. Thank you guys so much for coming out. And once again, I'm your host, Seleste. I'll see you guys next time.